Hey there, good morning, and welcome back to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you're here with us. We're going to talk more about what's happening with the Uyghur crisis over in China. The Chinese Communist Party is continuing to repress this group, and I am glad to have here on the couch with me Mr. Salih Khudayar. He's the Prime Minister of the East Turkestan government in exile. Good morning, Salih.
Good morning.
So talk us through first, how did you get elected? Because your government is spread out all over. You're here, you've got folks in Canada, Germany. Walk us through your government structure and who exactly are you governing over?
So we're a government in exile that was set up in Washington, D.C. in 2004 to represent the interests of East Turkestan and its people. It's a parliamentary system where local representatives are elected by local diaspora communities, and they make up the parliament, and in turn the parliament elects the president, prime minister, and other high-ranking officials. We claim to be the successors of the former East Turkestan Republic, which was overthrown on December 22nd, 1949 by the People's Republic of China. At the moment, only our diaspora in electing, official representatives. However, once East Turkestan is independent, obviously there won't be a government in exile. We are just interim in the meantime representing our people.
Sure, so how many people are in exile and then how many people are back home in the region?
So in East Turkestan, we estimate there's about 35 to 40 million people that are non-Chinese people, Uyghurs and other Turkic peoples. In the diaspora, there's at least 1 million. However, unofficial estimates put it at up to 5 million.
Mm-hmm. In terms of what's happening with the Uyghurs, what should an American audience know?
So the American audience needs to know that what's happening to the Uyghurs is nothing less than a genocide. The Chinese government in recent years has locked up millions of people in concentration camps and prisons and using them as slave labor to, working as slaves on cotton fields, to working, in factories producing products that are then sent here to the United States for consumption by the American consumers.
So in terms of the people themselves, this has been going on for some time, but has it been getting worse under, and what have you seen from President Trump? Because President Trump has had a very aggressive posture toward China. Is it actually getting worse?
So prior to the Trump administration speaking out on the issue starting in 2017, much of the world didn't know about the Uyghurs. In fact, many people never heard of the Uyghurs. President Trump and the administration have been very, have been raising the issue nationally and internationally. And because of Secretary Pompeo's outspokenness, people know who the Uyghurs are. This obviously, has angered China, but things have not gotten any better. In fact, recently, just yesterday, the Chinese government announced that it's going to continue its policies to, quote, fight against terrorism, to push back against Uyghurs, saying that, what we're doing, like the Chinese government is not doing anything wrong, and it's just trying to ensure political stability.
And what about the Joe Biden administration? What have you heard? What do you expect to see there?
So the Biden team had made an announcement saying that they would recognize it as a genocide during the election process. However, since the election process, since now that it's about to transition, they have been largely silent. In fact, Newsweek have reached out to them, even we reached out to them, and they haven't reached back out to us. So we're deeply concerned that they might reverse, the policies that the Trump administration has done, and that they might take the same position as the Obama administration, which is a position of just silence.
Do you think any of this might have to do with Hunter Biden? Because we have a group of senators who are investigating the incoming president and his business ties to China. Do you think that there might be any sort of conflict of interest there?
There definitely could. I mean, with the aspect of Hunter Biden, he actually invested in a Chinese company that was involved in the mass surveillance of Uyghurs in East Turkestan.
So he was making money off it.
Yes.
And when you reached out to the Biden team, did you mention this specifically, that concern?
I mean, we didn't we've raised that concern numerous times before, but this round we just were talking about them to, follow up on their promise of recognizing it as genocide, to speak out, to urge Congress, to pass the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, which has been stuck in the Senate, and we haven't gotten a response. Newsweek hasn't gotten a response either.
So we saw the Trump administration has put on through executive orders that American investors cannot invest in Chinese defense companies, certain Chinese defense companies. We have heard that there are some possible loopholes that people are getting around this, and folks are worried that with the Biden administration, the loopholes could get even wider. What have you heard on that?
We've heard the similar things. The Trump administration actually has done a lot on this issue. They've sanctioned the several Chinese companies that are involved in the mass atrocities that's happening in East Turkestan. More specifically, they sanctioned the Bingtuan, or the Xinjiang Construction and Production paramilitary force that is directly responsible for these atrocities.
All right. Well, thank you so much for letting us know about this. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Stay with us, folks. We've got a look at the Turning Point USA down in West Palm Beach, Florida. Don't you wish you were there? Stay tuned.